With us today, we have Josh Sullivan. He's one of the top producers on my team. He just issued over $75,000 in a single month selling life insurance. To give you guys an idea, that's like top 1% of the 1%. So he's an absolute stud. He's here to share with us some tips and tricks, things he says on the calls, and give us some word tracks that we can use to really level up our sales game. Josh, just tell me a little bit about you and how you found how you found insurance and how long you've been here.
Yeah, so I started in door-to-door pest control, did that for about 4 years. I really just got tired of, knocking doors, bouncing
Yeah.
around, doing like the frat life. And really wanted to make money remotely, but still utilize my skill set from sales and, take advantage of that. I built that up over the years. And so really just traveled a bit, was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then my good friend Zach, who I knocked doors with, he introduced me to you because I was already looking at, who should I sell for life insurance wise. I was seeing a lot of things about it. It seemed to be like exactly what I was looking for, and just trying to find the right spot. Met with you, got good vibes, seemed sharp, and seemed like a good spot to be. And then from there, that's how I found where I'm at. Just plugged in.
Nice, good. I'm glad you got good vibes. That's good.
Yeah.
But okay, bet. Well, so you mentioned like wanting to be virtual. Excuse me. So you mentioned like wanting to be virtual. Any other reasons that you were looking into like life insurance specifically?
Just the aspect that we're helping people,
Mm-hmm.
and it is high ticket sales. You're getting all your money up front, like 75% of it, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to pest control was basically backwards, where you're getting the 75% in the back end.
Really?
Yeah, so you just get it like a small upfront per sale, and the rest of it you have to wait till January, February for some companies to actually get the rest of it paid out.
Dang, so I didn't
Yeah.
even know that. So if like you sell like an average pest control deal, like how much would you get paid initially and then how much?
So yeah, so the average is 1,000. I would get paid, depending on your experience level. I was at 150 up front.
Okay.
If you're a rookie, it's about 50 to 75, and then the rest you would get on the back end, and you're only making about, as a rookie, 20 to 30% of that. And then you say if you're a veteran, like second year or more, you're getting 40, 50%.
Yeah.
And it maxes out at 70% of that $1,000. You can call it annual premium.
Okay.
It's the same exact thing. It's based on 12 months.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. What's been then just kind of like go through for anyone who might not understand in insurance, go through the difference of like the average, how you're going to get paid average pest control, how much and when, and then versus like life insurance, how much and when.
Yeah. So with pest control, about 1,000 average,
Yeah.
right? 1,500 high end or more. And then low end's like 600. And you get paid, 50 to 150 bucks up front, about 2 weeks after you sell it.
Yeah.
And you get the rest of that on the back end. So anywhere from, like I said, you're making about 20 to 50% of that annual premium.
Of the 1,000?
Yeah,
So
of the
total
1,000.
of
So
like
say,
maybe 400.
we'll say,
bucks.
yeah, like 400 bucks.
Okay.
Get 150 of that up front, and then you get the rest of it on the back end, not till about January, February.
Okay.
And it has to stay active through then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if they cancel, you're not getting it back in.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, and for us, it's kind of the opposite, right? If the client's paying 1,000, I mean, our starting commission is at least 70%.
Right.
So you're getting paid, 700 minimum, and then that's like 550 up front, and then 150 after 9 months.
Exactly.
So that's interesting. I didn't know that about pest control. That's sick. Well, so tell us about your start. Like, how was your first week selling insurance?
So it was rough. Yeah, just kind of sitting there dialing through a sheet, exhausted, not getting a lot of pickups, definitely aged leads, trying to figure out the script, getting hung up on. But just remembering how hard it was when I first started pest control, except I'm sitting inside AC room, right? Just not having to deal with the elements of life, and just getting through that, knowing that, trust the process of, just sticking it out. Yeah. And from there, there was something I was going to say, like something about trusting the process, but yeah, just sticking it out and seeing my vision through of where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
'Cause I knew I could have been successful at it if I just stuck it out, kept asking questions, and plugged in.
Yeah, 100%. Dude, one of the things that I think you specifically are really, really good at something that you do really well, and you probably make it a point to, is just like being coachable, right? Like I think if there was ever anything where you and I had a little bit of a difference of opinion on, like you were so quick to be like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do exactly what you said.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And not that I think I know everything or always have the
Right.
best tactics, but I have done it like that, and that at least helps us understand what's going wrong and what's going right. And now you're at the point to where, dude, I've learned. You just ran a training for a team yesterday. Like I learned a good bit from you, right? And I think that mentality that you had of like model, master, and then modify is so many people miss out on that and are hurt because they're trying to do it in the opposite order.
Yeah, I really try to take everything that you say, whether it's just like one word, change that word. And when I hear other people say it, I catch it immediately. And it's like, okay, you're not supposed to say that. You say this instead, or you wait to say this till the end, or timing of things, the way you say something. So yeah, definitely just try and remember all that. And if I forget, I'm not afraid to ask, write it down.
Yeah. Do you think that being in sales before, doing door to door, gave you a little bit of a head start? Do you think it made the learning curve like a little bit shorter?
For sure, so mentally, because sales is all mental.
Yeah.
So just being calloused to the nose and the mental aspect of like the lows and the very highs. Like you get a deal, you feel on top of the world. When you get no deals, you feel horrible. You made no money.
Yeah.
But just looking at the law of averages, it's not about having a 10K day or selling zero. It's about the average of what you do across all the days, all the weeks. The highs and lows average themselves out.
Yeah, that's really, really good. I like the way you said that of like it's about the average days, right? Like just averaging it out over the days. That's awesome, dude. So what would, for anyone like who's maybe listening to this and they're currently in pest control thinking about switching to life insurance, what have you seen that's different that they should maybe have a heads up about, whether it's like the sales process or anything like that? Like what are some of the biggest differences that you would have wanted to know before you started?
Asking better questions, more like open-ended questions,
Okay.
not like yes or no questions. Pest control is definitely more of like yes or no's. You're trying to get the yes to keep them engaged, get the yes ladder going. And with this, it's also less rapport as well. More of the rapport is towards the end.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get caught up in the rapport, like in pest control in the beginning, because it's just a little bit more that you can do in the beginning and more of a connection you're building in person, knocking on someone's door as a
Yeah.
cold lead. Where this, you're showing up for business, you're there to get closed,
Huh.
right, when they show up to your phone call. Approaching it like that. And then something else, just more of their perspective. A pest control, you're approaching it from the perspective of how can I help this person? But with this, it's a lot more serious. You're not just helping them, but you're helping their family ultimately. And with what we do, mortgage protection, the legacy of their home. Whether their kids grew up there, it's their childhood home, a sickness, an illness, just helping them when times are going to be the most rough for them.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Can you give us like a couple examples of, because I'm sure when you came into the industry, you were asking some yes or no questions, and then it sounds like you had to switch them to open-ended. So can you give us a couple examples of like common questions that you shouldn't ask as a yes or no and how you would reframe them to be open-ended?
Yeah. So as far as do you see this as helpful? How do you see this helping?
Okay.
Just
So
something like
instead of
that.
like, do you see this as being helpful? You would ask, how do you see this helping?
Yeah. How or what?
That's so good. That's fire, bro. What kind of answers would you normally get from a client on like, hey, how do you see this helping?
How you see they would break down on, just relieving the burden on when I pass, for the home, or depending on their situation, gives them time to sell it. Or if they wanted to keep it and that's their goal, is that way they don't have to sell the home or have an extra bill. Obviously each situation is different, but depending on their goals, they tend to expand on, and be realistic and what that situation would look like.
Yeah.
Say if their kid doesn't live in the home, they have their own bills. Now they have to take on this extra bill. They have to move in and everything like that. Or if they got a sickness, they're expanding on, okay, now they lose their income from work. And now they have a bunch of extra medical expenses. So helping with that. Bunch of different ways depending on what they can qualify for. But they tend to expand a lot more. And if not, then you just go a layer deeper.
Yeah.
Or you come back to it, you do, talk a little bit more about the product, and then you come back to it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like what you're doing there. I'm gonna write a note because I want to touch on something. So it sounds like what you're doing there is instead of like kind of just like forcing them to say yes, you're asking them that open-ended question, which kind of gives them an opportunity to sell themselves,
Yes.
on it.
That's a big thing, is what the client says is gold, as you taught me, and what we say is suspect. So that was a big adjustment as well.
Yeah.
Just getting them to say it, not me tell, ask, ask.
Gotcha.
So when it comes down to like breaking it down simple, just ask more than tell.
Dude, that's so good. You mentioned sometimes if they don't give you a good answer, they're going a layer deeper. So what would that look like if you say, hey, how would you see this helping? They're like, I don't know. And it would probably help a little bit. So like, how would you dig deeper on that?
So tailoring it to their situation. So with you making 6,000 and Mary making 3,000, when you pass away and she loses your income and the bills being 5,000, what does that actually look like for her? What is she going to have to do?
Gotcha.
And then maybe if they're still kind of cold, maybe give them a couple options. Like, is she going to have to sell the home, take out a loan? Is she going to be, out in the street? Is she going to, and maybe they say, she'll have to move back with her parents. So she'll have to move back with so-and-so. Are they close by? Or is she going to have to get a new job?
Yeah.
Kind of just peeling back the layers, like you're sat shoulder to shoulder with them and on their team. Yeah.
Dude, that's so good, bro. That's fire, dude. And I love that you're like adding in the context of like kind of their situation to really, like you said, tailor the question to them. Because I think a lot of times the thing that I was guilty of is I would try to ask one question to everybody. And because of I'm asking one question, it's one really generic question, but it sounds like what you're doing is you're taking a good question and you're literally like curtailing it to their situation so it applies to them specifically.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. So that way they feel like, because I'm going to be talking with them for life. I'm going to be the one helping them get their money when that time comes. So them realizing that I am on their team. I'm not just here to sell them and then never talk to them again.
Yeah.
I'm a part of the family.
Yeah.
Is the vibe that I'm trying to emulate.
Yeah, 100%. I love what you said the other day when you were like, I can't wait for my first death claim.
Yeah. No, it definitely come across as bad, but it's more just having that conviction.
Yeah, we know what you know. We know
of course.
Yeah. But bet, dude, well, I want to get into a little bit of kind of some sales tactical advice because I know we've already said it at this point, but you're coming off of a $75,000 issue paid month. And sometimes when agents do something like that, they had one or two really big policies. Like you didn't. I don't think you had a single policy over 5K. I think you wrote 63 individual policies that month, which is insane. That means you're doing 2 a day. If you didn't take a single day off, you're closing 2 a day. And assuming, you took at least 1 day off a week, which I think that's how you do it, right? You kind of take Sundays off normally.
Sundays.
So assuming you're doing like 3 a day, that you're like, that's insane. That's like unheard of, So the level of consistency that you have is so far above what most people ever achieve. So shout out to you.
Appreciate it.
But what do you think are some things that have helped you achieve that level of consistency? Because I know a lot of agents who have been here for 2 or 3 years that have never even done half of what you did last month, 5 months in.
So it's just drowning in leads, having more at bats. I like to have the routine of like 8 a.m. to 12 fully booked. And then I like to have a reset, whether it's lunch or the gym. And when I'm properly booked, I'm always getting at least one between that first like kind of 4 hour, 8 to 12. And that's my momentum for the day. So the first one's out the way. Now I'm sounding better. I have that it's like sales high, you can call it, the conviction already. And then I lead into prime time when everybody's home, from 2 to 8, 3 to 8, or later sometimes, just with the ball already rolling. Yeah. So that's like the perfect routine that I like to have, is get that first one, and then the 2, 3, and 4 come later on. I like that a lot.
Nice. That's awesome, bro. Okay, so let's move over to the sales process a little bit. And we kind of talked about some of them, open-ended versus yes or no's, but like other than that, what are some things that you have in your sales process now that you didn't, or maybe vice versa, some things that you used to do that you no longer do, now that you're writing 75K?
I'd say as far as like systems, or just the
Whether
word
it's
tracks.
like word tracks and like what you're doing like while you're on the calls.
Yeah, so I'd say just keeping the process moving more for sure. Whether they're on a tangent of their own, because we can get two types of people that are really cold and then really talkative. Give them a little gunshot of rapport. Acknowledging what they're saying. Being cool with them.
Yeah.
And then from there, being like right back into it. I'll keep this moving for you is my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll keep this moving for you. And then it's just the easiest way to transition back. And then if they're really on the tangent, they'll be like, look, I got a lot of appointments. You're the type of person I could talk to all day, but I got to keep this moving.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really good. So you literally say that to people like, hey,
Yeah.
You're the type of person I could talk to all day about this, but I got to keep it moving.
Yep.
Dude, that's so good.
Yeah, and they love that. That always hits really good.
Yeah, dude, that's fire. Because I think so many people, they feel like, and you were kind of talking about rapport at the beginning, but they feel like if the client likes me more, if I talk to them more, I'm going to close more. What have you found in your experience, like how much rapport are you trying to build, and does it help a lot? Does it hurt?
Yeah, like a little bit to keep it light, keep it, not too stern. It's all just dependent on the person. But I would just like to keep them liking the call a little bit, like enjoying talking to you. They're not just sitting there dead, like super bored out of their mind. Anything to keep it engaged and keep it light, keep it, I guess, fun, you can say. Even with the people that are business, just getting a little one-liner, like if they're with the spouse, like, I know I'm not supposed to ask a woman their weight, but how much do you weigh? Just something light like that, but still being the business professional, just not too boring and dry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the balance of just like being in a good mood, being vibey, and being a businessman.
You definitely are vibey, bro.
Yeah.
You're so chill, bro. Okay, so I had you run a training for the team. I think it was yesterday, and you were talking. I want you to kind of go in depth a little bit on this, but you were talking about the different types of clients, and you kind of put them into different categories.
Yeah.
Can you kind of go over that with us? Because I feel like that was really impactful for me to hear from you, and just like how I approach each client.
Yeah, for sure. So the first one that most people struggle with is definitely going to be the bull, the one that just wants the numbers, tell me how much. They're not letting you go through your process. And so those types, you're going to, mirror, keep it business, but not let them push you around, hold to your frame. And then there's lambs, which are going to be usually your older ladies or the people that they need to be really like guided into the sale, more assumptive, kind of just, maybe assumptive is the best way to put it. And then you got your tigers, which are more rapport peoples. So those are the people you'll feed into a little bit more, really be not too right back into business. You do maybe a little bit more rapport. And then especially towards the end in the application, tigers are just think rapport. And then the owl is going to be the folks with research. So those are the ones, you're emphasizing your licensing. You're talking about the different carriers, the benefits, just pre-overcoming that so they're not talking about shopping around. And a lot of times, that's what I love about life insurance. The script itself, if you're following it and you don't skip anything, it pre-overcomes most of those types of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, just in the script. And then the rest of it just comes in the way you're talking to the person. Like your tonality, your vibe, the different just kind of energy that you're using.
Okay, so what are some things, Josh, that you might do with like the lamb type of person that needs more guidance that you probably wouldn't do with a bull? Like what are some differences?
Yeah, so it's going to be more like, here's what we're going to do, right? Kind of saying politely direct.
Okay.
Or politely blunt. That this is what we're going to do. We're going to look at your situation, right? Ask you a couple questions, see what you qualify for. And then from there, once we find an option that does make sense and is affordable, we're going to set that option right here up over the phone so they make it pretty easy for us. And then just walking them through like more kind of like, which option do you want? I'm assuming one of these options works better than the others. Just super assumptive, like that we're getting this done today. Like this is obviously helpful is the energy that I'm conveying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so how would any of that change with like the bull type of person that's like numbers, show me the options, show me the quotes now. How would that change?
So that one I'm being kind of doubling down on more direct, but more like kind of less assumptive in the sense of like the options. Like I'm assuming which option. I wouldn't be like what we're going to do type of thing. Like we're just going to do like kind of snapping them back, like, no, this is what we're gonna do. It's gonna be more like I'm chill, but I'm not letting them push me around.
Okay.
Right? Like, do you want me to do a good job or a bad job of helping you? Type energy, but it's the way I'm saying it. You could say the same thing a couple different ways and then come across way different.
Yeah.
You know? And so with those, I like being like, look, I don't know what we're gonna qualify for here yet. I don't want us to get ahead of ourselves. So I have to make sure it's something that we can qualify for. It's not like some sort of sticker price. I'm not a sales rep. I'm the field underwriter, right? So if you want to go to talk to a sales rep, I could transfer you to the sales department.
Nice.
But I'm here to be on your team and actually help you today and get something set up.
Does anyone ever ask to get transferred to the sales department?
No.
That's something. That's like a worst nightmare.
Yeah.
So, dude, that's so good, bro. That's fire. I want to touch a little bit on, because you kind of mentioned it twice, but you said twice about like kind of preemptively overcoming objections. So like, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? And how, maybe if you can give us an example or two of like an objection and how you preemptively overcome it.
Yeah, it's probably the first one is definitely going to be in the licensing. There's a carrier sheet. So talking about, I'm with all the A-rated carriers in the state who offer the mortgage protection.
Okay.
So it gives you that peace of mind. I'm able to be on your team and find you the carrier that's going to give us the best coverage for the best price.
Yeah.
And that overcomes, because I used to get a lot of shop around. I want to shop around.
Yeah.
But I'm already with all the A-rated carriers.
Yeah.
That's always what I'm. So that is huge. I never get that anymore, that they want to shop around.
Okay.
Also, the apply for decline I personally like. And then adding in the expectation is to at least start with the bottom option to protect and then their dream outcome. Or, even before options, I like to say that too, because by then you have the why. So yeah, from there, pre-overcome, those are like some big ones there. And then squashing their life insurance. Really good. So putting it in different buckets. So, okay, great. So that's great for final expenses. That's income replacement. Work life insurance, super easy, great to take advantage of, just don't want to depend on it. Because if you quit or when you retire, they're no longer there, it's no longer with you, right? Yeah. Get on the same page with them. Yeah. Those are some big ones too. And then the rest of it, as far as urgency, just comes on to building a deep why, peeling the layers back.
Yeah, sweet, dude. And what, like, let's say somebody does tell you they want to think about it at the end. What are you saying? Yeah,
so totally understand. But out of those options, which one are you leaning more towards?
Oh, I don't know. I got to like go over the budget,
Sure. Yeah. So like I said before, right, it's apply for a decline. It's not open enrollment, right? So what most people do is they just start with the bottom option, the one we know for sure we can afford. And then after you look at your budget, if you can afford the gold or the platinum, then we can just bump it up anytime. All right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome, bro. Well, dude, I think we got a lot. You said a lot that was absolutely gold. Hopefully that helps some of the people out that are watching. Josh, can you just leave us with maybe the number one thing you wish you would have known, or piece of advice you wish you would have been given before you started life insurance?
That's a great question. Gotta
take your time. Think about it, bro. Take your time.
So that's good. One thing before I started, it would be really to be drowning in leads. And I was told that up front, just to get at bats, not only for more opportunities to present, but to get your experience done. A lot of people want to be ready. Like even when I was listening to you and I was just setting appointments, I was eager, but I was also nervous to like get into that because I didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah.
But you working, doing the more appointments gets you all the skill set that you need. And so the rest just comes with asking questions, recording your calls, not be afraid to, bug your mentor for it, especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
You demand the help, like you've told me. Demand the help from your mentor and make sure you're recording calls. Because if you just call and tell the situation at the end, everything's situational. Yeah. You can't just kind of say, oh, I got this and that. From there, do the underwriting. Learn the underwriting by calling you after the FI. And just trust the process. That was the phrase I was looking for earlier. Trust the process. Visualize where you want to be, even set a 2-year, a 5-year plan, and then write down what it's going to take to be there and what does that person look like. Just see it through, have faith, faith over fear always.
Yeah. Love it, bro.
Yeah.
Love it, bro. Well, thank you so much for being with us. And I know this is going to be really helpful because it was helpful for me.